Hey, what's happening, gamers? Whoa, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and I'll let Amber say hello because I have to adjust the audio.
Oh, yeah.
That was on Twitch.
Oh, jeez, I just, hit the mic. Hey, everyone, welcome to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles HD for the PS5, and special thanks to Capcom for providing a copy of this game. Thank you, all our channel members and all of our subscribers and viewers. Don't forget to leave a comment after the stream post publicly so that we'll be more visible in the search engine, and next time you come by here, we'll still exist as a channel. That will be good. Also, don't forget to check out our newsletter, which is
KwingsLetsPlays.com.
KwingsLetsPlays.com. You will get a email every day, like a notification in your email between 12
You're
and
really
3.
bad at vamping.
And welcome, Hype Train.
Wow,
Go.
wow. Alright,
Also,
alright.
today we don't have Murder Mondays because because of the cable guy was supposed to be here, but he wasn't, so
anyway, people, welcome back
Hello.
to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles on Kwings Let's Plays. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, as well as signing up for our official newsletter on KwingsLetsPlays.com. It's a free newsletter. It's all good. So today we are continuing the trial and bringing Joan to the stand and her husband. And that's the plan, so...
yeah, and don't forget to, yeah, and thank you, Capcom, for providing a copy of this game.
The witness will state your name and occupation, please. You're up, Amber.
Vamping, isn't that what Lord Van Zykes does? Yeah.
It's a musical term.
Yes, my name is Joan Garrideb.
Do you want to explain what vamping is?
So vamping is like, my high school orchestra teacher explained what it is, and I looked it up on Google years later, and she was correct. So vamping is like, basically when you're playing like an orchestra tune and people are marching up on stage, and like you run out of music, you have to keep playing the same measure over and over again till people are done marching. So you have no idea how long it's going to take, so you just keep playing the same measure over and over and over and over and over again. So it's basically like killing time if you're on stage. So say you're an orchestra or singing or something, you just keep drawing the song out until the next person gets there. So that's what I was doing, vamping, like just drawing it out until Luke could adjust the sound, which I wasn't very good at doing it, actually. I'm better at it during orchestra.
Alright, so did you do Joan yet or no?
Ah, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb. And I'm a juror and such like.
It sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore.
Yeah.
The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Oh, yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. Post-dates, and I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth or I will eat your face. I mean...
Oh, dearie me.
Chin up, Joan. Nothing to worry about now. 'Tis I.
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
That's right. Your knight in shining armor, darling. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, now was it? Rather, I think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it, it's a bally of a thing. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
Yes, well, my stomach's churning. I presume you are Mr. Garrideb, then? Yes, sir. Former second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th, Northumberland, Fullerton, sir, whatever. Seen my fair share of action, old man, and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life. Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Ah, well, yes. Quite. Alright then, well, I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Yes, sir, at once.
Witness testimony.
That's right. The Battle of the Gyrodebs. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a great bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now, old man. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had to put it out, though, and get out the window.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could to throw at him.
Oh my, plenty of knives around our place, mind you. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally of a thing is in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. Okay then. It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us off guard, sir. I had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment, my good man. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here, or what? Well then, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In the combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Wow, Van Zeeks. He may well be right.
Well, whatever the chances. We only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo.
Huh? Yeah, I'm afraid so. Alright. Very well, Consul. You may begin your cross-examination at once. The Battle of the Gyrodebs. Okay. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish, as it was. Can't recall the reason now. Are you sure? The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Gyrodeb.
A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Gyrodeb found the note, discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too.
What a sordid state of affairs. Yes.
Heck on earth.
I say, when a chap says he don't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it out in the open.
But we're in a court of law.
And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway.
A likely story.
These waters run very deep. Yes, well, anyway, what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face, might I add? Oh, knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet, I did.
Hold it!
Yeah, and the fire also spread to some items of furniture, did it not? Yes, the bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. What just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed it about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself into, sir. Ours is a 3-story household on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. I have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man boils water in bottles, I believe.
The defendant, Mr. Natsumi, you mean?
Ah, yes. He receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
How is he well off? I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Okay.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could to find to throw at him. Oh!
Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
That is most certainly not true of a Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did she know I was thinking about that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember if you could. Was the knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, cabbage, garlic, towel, sponge, napkin.
He looks...
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garadeb! Oh, sorry. Oh, don't shout, old man! Sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, mind you, no. Just the barrage of projectiles this old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch! Yes, the woman's aim is uncanny! Good grief, woman, we're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh, dearie me. I'm ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with a teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a good look at this then. How do you suppose this happened, old girl? You're the pipe, sir? Yes, had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. And when I went to pick up the old thing, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see. Your pipe was broken then. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the old girl up for now.
Ha ha! You are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
Quite right, yes. I wonder what we could make of this account. It could be important. The defense believes Mr. Garadev's remarks just now to be great significance, Your Honor. Objection! This war veteran's words are only tell us one thing, my little friend. Betray a fiery wife and pipes as well as hearts may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. Might one?
In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir?
Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
What? I wouldn't dream of it, Joan. Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. The pipe has been added to the court record.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh no, it's fine. Thanks to Susie, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully. Well, thank you for that, rebuttal, Mr. Garadeb. Now if you could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell us about the knife used to attack the victim? Plenty of knives around the old place, you say. Can't say I'd notice if one or two went missing, I'm afraid.
Hold it!
Sorry, would you care to elaborate, sir? Nothing to say, really, old man. Rather than partial to the spot of, carving, you see, pipes and whatnot, fishing tackle, you know, that sort of thing.
It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets, and then there's my leatherwork.
Yeah, sorry to say we're always losing knives about the place. And we have dozens of those things.
They sell them at the market. Sometimes 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snap them up. John prefers to use 2 knives at meal times instead of a knife and fork sometimes.
That's a bit weird.
It's pretty weird, dude.
No, Joan. We don't want people thinking I'm some kind of savage!
Oh my god.
Here we go again with the scaldings. Why are they being so evasive?
I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim.
Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still... Go on with your testimony, witness. Yes, sir. If that bally of a thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think.
Hold it!
So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife, unless we can produce proof? Oh. Even though there is no other credible possibility of Mr. Natsumi? I have no idea what that
He's
is.
innocent? I don't know.
I don't know. Be quiet! You forget, my Nipponese friend. That it is yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. If only there was one way we knew how he had handled the knife. But I suppose wizardry like that is just a dream.
Oh, perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruhodo.
What? You mean it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists?
Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin, or so they say.
Ah, but I can't see anything. There are countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice. Yes, I believe we're rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation.
But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion. That this knife found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Garadev's house.
Ugh, only I could transplant this whole incident to several years in the future. Nope, you can't, Ryunosuke. That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I think we've heard all this before, to be honest. I can't say I'm particularly confident that we'll be able to prove anything new from this testimony.
But in this cross-examination, it's absolutely essential that we establish how this knife came to be at the scene of the incident.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried that, in fact, a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury.
Oh, if we could find even a tiny shred of evidence to support that theory, it would clinch this trial for us. It would explain everything, too.
Yes, it would.
So, for Natsumi's sake, we must. We must find a way and that last crucial piece of evidence. Yes, on the day you're referring to, okay. Like the candlestick. Alright, let's examine the evidence. Okay. Let's look at the knife. We've never looked at the knife. Whoop. Nope. See how the knife is broken at the top?
Mm-hmm. Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
You're right. Well spotted, Miss Susie.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yeah, well, you don't think that it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
Okay, so we've looked at the knife. Whoop. Now we shall look at the pipe.
Examine pipe.
It looks like to be in a very sorry state with a bandage around it, doesn't it? Careful of your drink, sweetie. But for some reason, it feels slightly ominous to me, like he's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Garadeb's dressing gown.
I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Garadeb, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this.
Maybe his wife gave it to him. Either that or he can't afford to replace it. Oh, there it is. Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of this pipe there.
Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in here, I think.
Let's turn it over and give it a shake, shall we? Whoa, what's this?
It's such a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something.
The tip of a blade, huh? Surely it couldn't be. The fragment of metal has been entered into the court record. Dun dun dun. Well, old man, how do you explain this?
The tip of the blade could be in the... Yeah, that has to be the same blade. So it was in his pipe, which means... Oh my gosh, that's the knife that was in the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
This is the tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Garadeb's pipe.
It looks like the tip of the blade or something.
The tip of a blade?
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I don't really know. There's just something nagging me, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is.
Perhaps in that case, it would be very wise to examine some of the other pieces of evidence again.
Nope, I don't believe so. Alright, so I think we have everything. Sorry, sweetie, I don't want that to end up, you know, on the float. Alright, so when he challenges us about the knife, that's when we're going to present the broken knife. The ball of a thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have a job proving it, I think. Yeah, okay, well, how about this?
Objection.
Mr. Garadeb, could I ask you to take a look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't see a bally of a thing. You can't? They used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago, you have to understand. Even then, when trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days, I struggle to tell a B from a D, a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does. Dearie me. It's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must be very duzzy. Stop with the stupid puns. What is it? A tiny scrap of metal I don't understand. That's right, it's called shiny metal. Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade, Mr. Prosecutor. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where do the defense come by this evidence, by the way? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
Whoa.
My pipe, you're saying? By Jove, I wonder how it got there. You can't do that, because when your little foot hit that, that's when we started to drop frames yesterday, too. Because it made the internet cable loose. So you can't pound the table with your little foot. Okay? And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify? If you're having problems moving around, just sit, like, cross-legged, like on the couch. And then your little legs can't move around. Are you are you suggesting that this is some way related to the matter of the stabbing at Briar Road? Slap! Ah, that woke me up. I am! What? When you put these together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unveil the whole truth of this case, my lord. God, she's standing on a box.
She's standing on a box. She's so short.
You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well, then, present the pretent evidence to the court. Would the evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allege the truth? Yeah, it's the knife, yo. Boom.
Take that!
This is a knife that was found in the victim's back, Your Honor. If you look closely, you'll see that there is a small piece of the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. Ugh. And with that,
Gross.
And what of this particular knife, Consul? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate and now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
I don't believe so.
Nope.
No, that's not the case this time. What? The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe.
Oh!
Yeah! Good grief! Lord Van Dracula! I don't believe it! The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal! A perfect match! Good golly, Miss Molly!
Whoa.
Order! Order! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? I'm starting to wonder. This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle, you say? So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he? Consul, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Yes, Your Honor. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe?
Something that was clarified us in the most recent witness testimony.
I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles, she did, yes. I would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Uh-oh. Oh, dearie me. During the argument between the two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Miss Garrideb flung the knife at her husband.
Wow.
However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time. Which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord! Yeah, and then when and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1, sir.
What had happened?
And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe, sir. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, the knife which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh my gosh! Oh dear, oh
No!
no!
Objection!
Oh,
Why am I objecting? Just so I can drink my blood. Yes. A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. Huh? A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage.
Sorry.
Allow me to toast my learned friend, characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling this argument. What? Sorry? But, after all, it is just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see, it's what?
Spoilt.
It's spoiled by
Insurmountable inconsistency.
That's hard. It's spoiled by insurmountable inconsistencies. What? Nani? Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is an inconsistency you claim to have identified? The inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Yeah, in her... Ah!
Oh, wow.
that's right, you silly little man!
Why am I being slapped?
She slapped him. That's terrible.
Now, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground, in the knife that stuck her spine from above. There's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back. Yeah! If she was bent over, though.
Yep. that's
Order!
true.
Order!
If she bent down to get the book.
Mm-hmm.
Quite right, you see. That's exactly right, it is. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her in the top of her head.
Oh my gosh. Well, he's lost for words, look.
Yeah, I knew it. I never liked this theory in the first place.
I don't know, though. What really did happen, then? It would appear the defense has made a rather spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency? Or in other words,
We simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand.
Miss Susie!
You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. The key to this is in the court record. I'm sure all the information you need is there.
Ah! It seems you have nothing to say, my Japanese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. Uh-oh.
Objection!
What? No, we're not done yet. This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under the normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel! There's a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer, Your Honor.
Oh, goodness.
Utter madness! Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. You are so fidgety. My goodness, Amber. I don't know. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is...
Alright, Troggle says the book. Bent over to get the book. Troggle says bent over to get the burnt book.
Yep, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what a lot of the chat is saying.
Take that!
This is the fourth book found at the scene of the crime. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book. Is that not Mr. Gerardeb's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. The photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that.
But he said that he found it like that.
Quite so, as part of this wholesale transplanting of the evidence crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true, however, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. But, what made you place the book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over the scene, the victim was already holding the book, you see. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book in her own violation. And, clearly, that must have been before she suffered the wound. Well, I would say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything at all. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? Oh, by Jenga! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me!
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Gerardeb household onto the pavement below, in precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yeah, that's exactly the moment. The young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book that I threw?
Yes, Mrs. Gerardeb. And what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
At least look at it.
Well, I really can't imagine, but I suppose she might have reached down and picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh, heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick up the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book, the knife fell in her back. The next object that fell from above was the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at that same moment, walking by chance directly behind Mrs. Green, was the defendant, Mr. Natsume. Well, I never! It appeared to be Mr. Natsume to everyone else, that the woman simply collapsed on the floor, in the dark and the fog. He didn't see the knife falling on her from above.
Oh!
And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that accumulated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind this case.
Oh my
Blessed!
gosh. It's crazy, Luke.
Yep. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb?
Oh, the very first time you showed me the knife, I had my suspicions. But I wondered if perhaps it had been something like that, actually.
There, Albine.
Poor Mrs. Garadeb.
Oh, of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me, and I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well.
And the hot poker, and the fruit,
cabbage.
and the cabbage, and the cat.
And the chair.
And the chair, yes.
John, dear,
It's alright, I know.
I'm sorry. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry! Oh!
He didn't even catch her. Oh, he did!
Oh, she's really heavy.
Oh, my back!
Shaking. His knees are shaking.
He's done.
You can't lift her.
Nope. I don't know what would have happened to her back then, though. Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garadeb?
I know, but she did cause...
She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events had left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could have been easily a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions.
What would those be?
There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just heard word from the hospital where the victim was being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she'll regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never met her once.
How wonderful! The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Yeah, that is good news. So, Mr. Natsume? Yes? What? What is it? What's going on? Yes? What? Yes, well, on behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture. And you have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. Yes, we did make a boo-boo. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Oh no? Mr. Natsumi, what? That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead.
Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought that she had been killed too.
I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless, with a knife in her back. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Oh no, poor Natsumi. His imagination really's got the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and ran away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of the trust between our two empires. And for that, I am so truly sorry.
Yeah, but dude, if you called for the police, they would just think that you killed her anyway.
No, if you call for help, like, frantically, I don't think they would. One could indeed say that some of the most mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to a false conclusion. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both. Huh? Oh! But I failed again. I lose to this small little child. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one more time for your decisions regarding the defendant's capabilities. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion.
I do declare that the truth can be extremely cruel at times.
Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean whilst she's out of action, you know. But I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
Yes, I have a corker of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I?
Yes, that's all well and good. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions on the matter. Mr. Foreman!
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh, wow.
Not guilty.
They all have different voices.
Not guilty.
This is why I don't like the English, because it throws off what I'm doing. For an accidental crime like that, what would happen to Mrs. Garrett and Mr. Garrett? Would they go to jail, or...? Very well, Mr. Natsumi, I hereby pronounce you not guilty!
I think only Mrs. Garrett would have a problem, though.
I mean, it was still an accident, though.
Yeah, but... I mean, she did throw it at him.
I guess we'd have to see what Mrs. Green, if she would press charges, because she was the one stabbed, so... And finally, Mr. Natsumi. Oh, yes, Lord, what is it? You are now a free man once more, sir. It is my hope that you'll continue to further your education in the British culture. And may you never again be brought before me. Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. Unsported to tears. Thank you, consuls. Court is adjourned.
Oh, the poor guy. They were gonna pin it on him.
Oh, yeah. The 20th of February, 3:17 p.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Oh! What is it? Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another one here? Is there even one?
Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it?
What's wrong with using my actual name?
Oh, sorry.
At least I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah!
Oh, I'm pleased. Mr. Natsumi is delighted.
He's so insane. Would it be so hard just to say that then? You did it! You saved me from the brink! Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all, so I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that! Lovely, loyal lawyer! Why, what? I mean, as I said before, I have just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback.
Oh dear. I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume.
Mr. Natsumi went to another place. But today you, lawyer, gave me a gloom to boot. You stood firm behind that bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. Wow, he speaks weird. And when I beheld the binding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, behold the best whatever.
Barrister ever born, I think.
Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. He's supposed to be like a literary student, so he uses really big words. This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount my old friends back in Japan. Ah, really? Is that what's become of all my hard work? Oh, there you are, my dear fellows. Oh, no, it's him!
Sholmes!
Apologies for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes! What a pleasure to see you!
Wow, she has such a crush on him. I see I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say.
Oh!
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain! Ah, it's you! Herlock Sholmes! Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man that you arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming.
Wow.
This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes! You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind! My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I've placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor lady and ran off, are you not? Ah! Had she been taken to the hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh! But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience after all. Oh! I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind then. What is it you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. Priceless! Oh, I am sorry, really, but that was quite a priceless. Poor Natsumi.
But it doesn't matter if he didn't.
Still, on the bright side, you have an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you were not even found guilty, sir.
But he almost was, you jerk.
But there is no bright side.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume?
Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now the Reaper! Oh, Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten you. What facing a man in that court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed!
It will be alright, Mr. Natsume.
Huh?
If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hiya!
Ah!
With a perfectly executed Susato takedown.
Why? Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning please next time, Susie. My back. So, Mr. Natsumi, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan? Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh!
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I have visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here, and the city has shaped me. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
That's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or, in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world to escape the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's not it! The more I learned of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own. Oh, I see. A work of literature by Natsumi. Could be very interesting indeed. And what about you, Miss, Susie, and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustached compatriot? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we finally found on our feet.
Ah, and you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not? That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated that we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room? Ah, but that lacks in windows. It more than makes up for with floor and ceiling and walls. Great! And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit.
Yes! Oh yes! It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's a wake-up call! The cat. The cat's not his. Well, we'll think about it.
It could be
if that's alright.
It could be the cat.
Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Really?
Oh my gosh. Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it's up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of?
Oh, this is simply wonderful! What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So, suggesting we look elsewhere is out then, huh? Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsumi. I insist. I don't know what to say, but thank you and yes.
Wonderful! Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy.
Oh, she's gonna do paperwork so he can go back to Japan?
Welcome! I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I am truly delighted to have met you here in London. Likewise, Mr. Natsumi. It's been a privilege meeting you, too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon, though. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But we'll meet again one day. In the sequel. Yes, I'm sure we will. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then, I will be a successful author. Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, Mr. Sholmes. I've little doubt Mr. Natsumi will be released in time for dinner this evening.
I don't understand why he has to be released.
Because he was arrested. And so, with Natsumi's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home. 221 Baker Street.
Curie says, and Luke, it finally came true. Get a room!
The 20th of February, 4:41 p.m., the attic room.
People said they want to get a room emoji.
So this, well, I mean, Natsumi and, or not Natsumi, Naruhodo and, Susie aren't really a couple yet. Apparently it takes place after the second game where they get married. So they're just work buddies right now. So this is...
It's to be our new office, yes!
Our office? I rather like the sound of that, actually.
But they have to sleep there too.
Me too, it's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step, but I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to our dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place?
Oh,
Whoa! He cleans up nice.
Whoa.
Mr. Sholmes, yeah, thank you.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. You can eat as soon as Mr. Natsumi arrives. We have a lot to celebrate.
Iris, you must let me help you.
All right then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad.
Splendid.
They're inviting Mr. Natsumi to dinner. That's nice. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel, sir? To have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us now. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry. London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So, once again, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke, but it wasn't long before my turn came to lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Aw, no cutscene.
The end.
Yeah.
That was the end of the entire game?
Nope.
Oh, the end of that part.
Chapter 5 is the last part of this game. Alright.
Yay, and that was the case of Mr. Soseki Natsume.
Yep, we have a little bit of time, since it's only been an hour. Why don't we go like another 15-20 minutes and see what the new case is? Sound good?
Okay.
Episode 5, The Adventure of the Unspeckable Story. Yes. The Hound of the Baskervilles. The Adventures of the Unspeakable Story.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles."
Whoa. I remember watching the Hound of the Baskervilles movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sherlock Holmes. It's terrifying.
Our first 2 months in London passed in a flash. In that disconcerting courtroom experience, we were first thrown into the day we arrived in court. And Natsumi's terrible ordeal had followed closely behind. We had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. The 15th of April, 9:13 a.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Knock, knock, knock.
It's their office, but where do they sleep?
I don't know. That morning, I was awoken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susie's behavior became very obviously strange. Susie?
Yes! Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today?
I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I?
Oh no, of course not. How silly of me.
They're going stir crazy. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Shom's suite?
Yes. Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food.
She does, doesn't she?
Once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in the fighting fit form.
We don't have any cases.
Let me see. What case is it today, then?
Here we go again. We'll talk to Susie.
They sleep on the ground, everyone's saying.
They probably have, like, futons or something. Like, usually, even my roommate in Japan, like, he would... It looked like a sleeping bag, but it wasn't. And you know how we had, well, you actually didn't see the student dorms, because you and I lived off campus in the student housings. But, there were closets, kind of like our sliding closet upstairs, and when, Sachi was done sleeping on the floor, he would roll up his bed, or his futon thing, and he would put it in the closet, and then he'd have, like, his desk area, like, so only at night would they lay down, some Japanese people. Some people have Western beds, other people have futons, and, other things. Like, there are even, like, beds that are on the floor, like, just basically like mattresses, but he would roll up his bed in the morning, and then, you know, he would have his area where he would have more of the room. Sachi had more of the room than most of us because he didn't really have a bed. So he just...
Yeah, that makes sense.
He opted not to have a bed, like, because everybody had bunks, but he didn't want to sleep in the bunks, because I don't blame him, but yeah, that's what he did. So most likely what they did is they lay out their because there's room for their futons, like in this office, and then they probably just roll them up and put them away somewhere. Maybe we can even see them, I don't know. So what was that about?
How would you put that in the washing machine then? Would it be able to fit in the washing machine?
Sometimes they put them outside to dry in the sun, like to have all the germs and stuff come off. They put it in the sunlight all day. Sometimes depends where they live. At least from the animes I've seen and like some Japanese dramas. The telegram that was delivered this morning. I mean, what's going on with that?
Oh, a telegram. I don't know what you're talking about.
Didn't you hear the door knocking? Sorry, but you're not gonna get away with that.
Well, I didn't think that I would.
Uh-oh. Can you go get the other controller, sweetie? You okay? We, ran out of battery, Sky. One second. This is your last stream. Because. No. Alright, so there we go.
Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, I don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. I was just doing a boring old telegram.
That's 3 times now that you tried and failed to convince me that it was nothing.
I promised that I'd tell you about it at some point.
Alright, I understand. I suppose that Natsumi-san will arrive back in Japan by now, won't he?
Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already.
Or just be a few days away then.
A fortnight ago, we had a very long telegram from him. Do you remember? Complaining of seasickness? But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Sit still, little one. You think you're the one with ADD.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo?
I was just wondering what might have become of Natsumi-san had he stayed in London, that's all.
You mean, as regards Lord Van Zykes, the Reaper?
Yeah, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance for that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? That no one stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London.
Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery.
Yeah, but at least Natsumi-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means
that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within the confines of the city of London, perhaps.
Even if that's the case, it's a little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding.
If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself.
Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months anyway. Surely not wielding that sword against more acquitted defendants.
No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zykes hasn't appeared in court once our last encounter.
Oh?
Yes, since Soseki-san's trial, he's withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems.
Because he lost. Really? Just like before, huh? When he wasn't seen in court after several years. So it's just been me who's had to face him in recent spat of trials then, huh? Ah, just my luck.
I wonder if luck doesn't come for it.
Sorry, what did you just, what?
I mean, if luck doesn't come into it. Oh, nothing, never mind.
Alright, let's explore our office, because I kind of want to see what... Wow, she's... Okay, so that's Natsumi's desk. This is Susie's. Susie's organized. Let's see if we can look around. That spade has been in here ever since we started renting the place.
Oh, that's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel.
No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade.
We got a super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat. No, spades are for digging, and that's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel.
I don't want to dig a hole for myself, so let's leave it at that.
Thank you. From Is That Me? Thank you, Is That Me says hello.
Hello. It's spring at last, and the weather is warmer now. But I love the smell of fire and the steam rising from the kettle.
Oh, would you like some tea, Mr. Naruhodo-san?
Thank you, Susie, but I'm alright for now. With the green tea Susie makes me from time to time, and Iris's unique herbal infusions, this place is a paradise for a true tea lover.
Green tea is such a wonderful accompaniment to British tea cakes, don't you think?
Okay. So this is a tea set that Susie brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter.
Tea is a drink to be enjoyed, Naruhodo-san. You really don't have to force yourself to drink it, you know. I don't like to see you screw up your face, so...
Well, he just said that he put stuff in there. So we're exploring their office. This might be the mats they sleep on. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Ah, the Doram doll I brought with me from home. Still with only one eye colored in. I'd say I'd color the other eye once I won my first court case in Britain, but...
But you have one, haven't you? Twice, in fact.
Because I feel as though I'm still lacking as a lawyer. I'll tell you what. Why don't we color the other eye in once you think I'm a proper full-fledged lawyer?
If you insist.
Okay, so what else can we click on? We got some books here. We've only been in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already.
You could tidy up once in a while, Naruhodo.
Susie, I always say, making a mess is a small sacrifice to pay for being able to further your studies. And time spent tidying up is a time you can't devote to the same cause.
And time spent on ridiculous arguments is time that could be better spent on some simple housework.
She wins. But I'm supposed to be the lawyer here.
She out-lawyered you.
She out-lawyered you, Naruhodo. Alright, what else do we have to click on? So that was his desk. His desk is a mess. He's got his trinket. Yep, Susie's desk. Ah, this must be the telegram. Let's see.
Ah! No! You mustn't look at that! Not under any circumstances, no!
Alright, I won't.
I'm so sorry, Naruhodo-san, but you can be very mischievous at times.
Then put the telegram away if you don't want people looking at it.
But
That was awfully
she
suspicious.
said don't.
We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the
Anemones.
anemones too.
It's a wonderful invention, isn't it? The sea, behind glass, inside your room. Another example of Great Britain's greatness.
Having to clean it out and change the water isn't so great though, is it?
Well, it's kind of cool to have in your room, though.
Yeah, it is kind of neat to have. Do you know, I've never seen inside your room there. Oh, she has her own room! Oh, okay. Never mind. So he sleeps out here. She has her own privacy. That's nice.
That's nice.
That is nice, yep. Do you know I've never seen the inside of your room? I've never even peeped inside.
I should think so, too. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know.
Whatever you say, young maiden. Well, now we know. So they're not actually sharing, bed chambers. So he sleeps out here.
There, you can look at the white thing next to the door and had a plant on it.
Look at the plant? I don't think they'll let you. No.
No, go to the white thing. Oh, that's not it.
No.
I thought that was
Okay, so he sleeps out here, and then she has her own room to live in, which is nice and organized over there with the little aquarium and stuff like that. That's very nice.
Otherwise, how's she gonna get dressed in the morning?
Exactly.
It means a great deal to me, you know, that you cherish his armband so and wear it each time you appear in court.
Well, it's very important to me. It's what shows that I'm a lawyer. And whenever I wear it, I feel as though it gives me strength. Through Kazuma. I absolutely can't be without it, especially when I'm at a critical point in a trial.
But just the other day, I noticed you wearing it when we went to visit that park.
Sometimes I forget to take it off, okay? Alright. Well, I guess we'll save Show 'em Sweet for tomorrow.
Okay.
This is a good place to stop for today. And somebody's going to sleep.
No, why would I?
Thanks so much for the super chat. Hello.
Alright. Alright, guys and gals. Oh yeah, I want to save my progress. Oops. Back to title. Save.
Well, guys and gals, special thanks again to Capcom for providing a copy of this game. Thanks everybody for watching and for all the super chats today. Thank you, hello, and for the super chat, and thank you everyone for being channel members, patrons, and members over on Twitch. And thanks everyone for watching and for all the awesome tips.
Yep, so around 6:30, guys, 6:15 will be your next live stream, and it will be on Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. And then I don't know what else I'm going to be looking at. I need to set up the new Xbox thing, so, and download Amber's Flight Sim game. And then try to figure out what I'm going to do after that. But, yeah. So far, so good today. and we were finally able to finish that case, which is awesome because, you know, we tried to do it yesterday and the bandwidth cut out, which was very frustrating, but today we were able to complete this, so make sure you guys leave a comment down below and tell us what you thought about today's episode and what you think happened to the Garadeb family, if they went to jail, if they got a fine. What do you think transpired after the incident? And thanks so much for watching. Ace Attorney will continue tomorrow with the 5th and final case for the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, the first game, and then we will start the second game probably Friday. Most likely Friday. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, which is known as the Great Ace Attorney Adventures Resolve. So that's the name of the second game. And it also has 5 cases. So.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, guys.
Sounds great.
See you with Mario and Luigi around 6 something.
Yep. We'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. God bless. Happy gaming. See ya.